everyone, it's Catherine here. Thanks for joining me on my channel today. I'm excited to share with you a layout I'm creating for Confessions of a Paper Addict, but this one is a special one because Virginia Walker has just released her Creative Cuts class, the Rainbow Edition, and so all of the design team are creating rainbow layouts for the start of the month, and I'm lucky enough to be working with this Sunny Days background cut file. And so I've gone ahead and backed some of the cut file, and so I'm using the Cocoa Vanilla Studio Daydream collection. And so I've backed this cut file, so I've backed the suns using one of the yellow papers, and then all of the clouds I've backed with vellum, and because I wanted to create a couple of shaker pockets. So off camera I have actually used some foam tape to put around these three clouds, and I'm going ahead and adding some sequins. These sequins are from a mix from 28 Lilac Lane, and it is the Fairy Sparkle, and so it's got mainly clear sequins and then a couple of kind of pinky peachy hearts in there. And I'm also using this glitter. This is just from, it's a cheap one from Kmart, but it's kind of that quite iridescent, and so I'm just sprinkling that in to create these shaker pockets and adding a few more sequins. And I did it this way because I wanted that background paper to show through, so I am just going to go ahead and use some of my wet adhesive. I'm actually using the new to me, the Nuvo liquid adhesive, and so I'm just adding that to the main kind of parts of the cut file, so the suns and the rainbows, and then I'm just adding it around the edges of these shaker pockets, and the rest I just leave. I don't actually add any glue behind them because it's vellum, you'd see through it, so I'm just adding that wet adhesive to the foam and the rest of those backed pieces. And once I've done that, I'm going to position my cut file. The good thing about this cut file is that it doesn't have to be straight on the page. So, you know, I'm just trying to position it so it's somewhat in the middle of my 12 by 12 sheet. But yes, then I'm just going to go ahead and sort of stick it down. I do put something heavy on it. I think I put an album down on it, and then I'm going to go ahead and start working on my title. So I've got this You Are Sunshine title. I think it's by COAPA Creations. It's like a wood veneer. So I'm just adding some gesso here because I wanted to spray it with some Distress Oxides. So I'm just adding some white gesso, and then I'm just going to go ahead and spray with the Distress Oxide in Speckled Egg. And I've brought back my cut file, so now I'm going to start creating my rainbows. As you can see, the three rainbows in this cut file I've just actually backed in white because I wanted to use these sequins to create the rainbow. So the sequins on the right hand side are all from Cocoa Vanilla Studio, and so I'm starting with this Periwinkle. I've also got blue and the Spearmint, and then on the left hand side I've got a yellow, and that's from a sequins mix from 28 and Lilac, and then I've got the Apricot also from Cocoa Vanilla Studio. So I didn't make you watch all that because it did take some time, so I've laid down all those sequins on those rainbows, and now I'm just going to go ahead and back my photos with some white cardstock, and this is just, you know, scrap white cardstock. So I'm just backing that and leaving a thin border around my photos. These were just photos of my son, you know, out on our balcony, you know, looking at the rainbow that came up in, you know, one of our summer sun showers. So now it's time for embellishment, and I'm just going to go ahead and pull out some of the ephemera. So I've got lots of florals and lots of different pieces here to embellish with, and I like that tag sitting next to the photo because I want to be able to put my date somewhere. And I will just keep going through and working out what ephemera is going to work to embellish these I'm going to make sort of 3 main clusters around, near the sun and the rainbows. So I'm picking out a couple of the butterflies as well to put in each of those positions. So in the end, I do kind of choose 3 blue flowers and then the butterflies in that pinky peachy colour. And I did find this flare, so I had to use the rainbow flare as well. And that's going to go up the top in that first cluster. And so while I'm doing that and getting some embellishments happening, as I said in the beginning, this was created for Confessions of a Paper Addict and the release of the Creative Cuts 2 class, which is all about rainbows. So you can find a link below, and that's a link to the Etsy store for Confessions of a Paper Addict. And in that class, there is 6 new exclusive rainbow cut files that Virginia's created. And so in the class, you get those 6 exclusive cut files, as well as links to videos to show you exactly how to create with those cut files. I've had a look and there's some fabulous cut files there, and the instructional videos are fantastic. Virginia does such a great job of, explaining and, showing you through how to create with those cut files. So while I'm doing that, I am just cutting around the edge of some of these die cuts because I felt like the white edges were a little bit too big. But like I said before, I have created essentially 3 clusters with these blue flowers and the butterflies and a few word stickers and a few word pieces. But I'm going to go ahead and continue to fussy cut out this flower, and I will leave links below to this Sunny Days background cut file. And this isn't part of the class, but it is in the Etsy store. And it is such a fun cut file to create with. This layout came together really quickly. Obviously the backing the backing of the cut file didn't take too long. It was more sticking those sequins down, but you can create, you could back those rainbows in different pattern paper, but I just chose to use the sequins. And so I'm going to go ahead and try and embellish with these hearts, but they don't end up making it. I couldn't get them to work. So I am going to go ahead now, I think, and stick down a few more stickers. I'm just finding this one here. This says The Good Life. And so I'm just going to use my wet adhesive. Again, I'm using this Nuvo liquid adhesive to stick everything down, and it seems to be working really well. I haven't used it much, so yeah, it's quite good. And I'm just going to go ahead and stick down these clusters that I've created here. And like I said, there's not too much embellishment here because the cut file is, doing its job and, creating, doing the work for me. So I didn't have to use too much embellishment here. So I'm sticking all that down, and I'm just going to go ahead and add a staple here to this rainbow tag that I've stuck to the photo. And again, I'm using wet adhesive to stick down this title. And then I think I'm going to come in with my date stamp and just add the date to that label at the side of my photos there. And I'm using some Stays On ink just to add that. This is my go-to ink when I'm doing any stamping, any black stamping for that matter. And I do go ahead and sort of do some faded stamps on that as well. It doesn't come out too much, but it adds to the effect. And I'm just going to use some double-sided tape here to stick down my photo, but I won't make you watch all of that. So now I'm just going to go ahead and pack up all these embellishments that I haven't used. I've still got a ton from this collection. I can't wait to use it up, but yeah, it's such a great collection to create with. I really enjoy it. And And now I'm just going to use some glossy accents just to add to this title to make it stand out a little bit more. With all these sequins on the page, yeah, I felt like the title just needed to stand out a little bit more. So I've added that glossy accents. And then I decide the gap at the bottom of the photo was a little bit awkward, so I wanted to add something there. And I tried this favorites, but that was, yeah, didn't really work. And then I pull out the sticker sheet and add this, my favorite things. But I do go back at the end and actually add some rainbows. But that's it for my layout. So bye.